Hello, my wonderful family. Thank you for joining us for our class today. Very happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Wonderful to meet each one of you and to be in ceremony with you today. We're going to begin by programming this year. 2022 is a very powerful year because we're going to make it powerful, right? We're going to co-create with all of our spirit allies, everything and anything that we need. For today, we also have programmed to work with our mesas. I would like to know if everybody has mesas or who doesn't have a mesa and is completely new to it. All right, we have few people that don't have mesas yet. A mesa is a translation into Spanish of the altar. It's a personal altar in the Andes that we work with. And this personal altar was called Mesa by the Spaniards, which is, in Spanish it means table. And the reason for that is because before the Spaniards' arrival, the native people, the Inca people here, they used to do everything around an altar. Whatever they were having as an important official meeting, important meals, official decision-making, conflict resolution, all of that was done around an altar. So for this reason, when the Spaniards started doing that around a table, like the Catholic priest who would make his service in front of a table, they started calling this altar the Mesa. Today, we're going to learn about the tradition of the Mesa, how we program into these powerful crystals or stones in our personal altar, sacred allies, powerful spirit forces that can help us, that can protect us, that can guide us in our sacred space and our sacred time. But before we work with our Mesa, I'm going to give you an introduction to this tradition, and we're going to work first on this year, which is the year of powerful manifestations. Interestingly enough, in the oracles of our ancestors, what they say for this year is a year of powerful manifestations and at the same time, detachments. Whatever that we're attached to, that we need to liberate, that we need to let go of. So we will begin. 2022 is a year arriving to us in the midst of so many challenges, so many difficulties, so many hard processes worldwide. In different parts of our planet, there are so many different struggles, so many different hard processes that our family and community are going through. At the same time, it's arriving to us at a time of powerful healing, powerful transformation, a transition. We believe, according to our prophecies here in the Andes, that we are living an age, an era of unevolved consciousness, unevolved humanity, and we're entering into the times where we have no choice but to be completely awake, but to be completely evolved. And this is the times we're entering into that our prophecies, myths and legends, and our traditions spoke about. We are right in the middle of the transition right now. So this year, it's a very auspicious year for us to work. This is why in our program today, I programmed for us to pray, intent, and program each month to be a month of specific manifestations, specific energies in these 12 months that we have. We cannot begin programming these months unless we completely liberate, unless we completely let go, unless we say thank you to the processes that we have had in the past. Not even just 2021, but all the other years prior to that. So we must always practice the attitude of the shamans, the attitude of the masters. And what is that attitude? Gratitude. We must always say thank you for whatever challenges, for whatever hard processes, for whatever lessons, for whatever blessings we have received until this point in our lives. Deep gratitude first to Pachamama, Mother Earth, for constantly supporting us, holding us in good vitality, and she is responsible of keeping us also in good health. She does that just with her energy. She does that with her elements, which we're gonna also learn about. And she does that also with her gifts, with her offerings, like food, like water, like air, all these powerful elements that we receive from her. So we must always give thanks to Pachamama. The people here in the Andes, we live in absolute communion and powerful connection with Pachamama, Mother Earth. For this reason, because only thanks to us being here in this planet can we experience everything. While we are here in good health, while we are here in this earth, we can go through all processes. Powerful, awakening, self-realization processes, and also lessons, hard processes, challenges, crises, which help us in our evolution, in our spiritual growth. So this is why the first gratitude prayer is to Mother Earth. We must always give thanks to Mother Earth for this sacred space, for this sacred time. And we do that by just becoming one with her. And so you do that by putting both of your feet firmly in the ground, breathing deeply, acknowledging and honoring everything that is around you. This place, this sacred space, this home that you have, this sacred space. That's why you need to contemplate everything that is around you. The house, the sacred space, the technology you have in it that is making our connection possible today. All of that, before it was there as it is, it was Mother Earth. And now it is still Mother Earth. So just acknowledge and honor your sacred space. Look around. Feel the ground below you with your both feet firmly touching Pachamama. Feel the vitality and the energy that is coming from Mother Earth, ever always recharging you with new energy, bringing you vitality, bringing you good health. And just say, thank you, Mother Earth, for this sacred space, for this sacred time. Breathe deeply. Now, let's give thanks to our most immediate guardians. Our most immediate guardians who are always looking after us, who's always watching over us, is our ancestors. Powerful grandfathers, grandmothers, medicine men, medicine women who left their footprints of their spiritual journey, of their pilgrimage, of their life for us, who left their experiences, their learnings, their wisdom, their knowledge, who are here in the spirit realm as sacred essence, as sacred light, constantly protecting us, guiding us, and being here for us if we need them for anything and everything that we need our ancestors. Acknowledge and honor both the biological lineage, so our ancestry from our family, and the spiritual lineage, which is our ancestry on a broader way, meaning probably the ancient cultures that existed in this land. In my case, the Inca, the pre-Incan cultures. In your case, the Celtic ancestry, and in the UK, I think there are so many other powerful ancestral lineages that you can connect with in that area, in that land. So just connect with that ancestry and just say thank you for the protection, for the blessings that we receive from them always. We always say, because with our physical body we can only exist here and now, we're not always together with our ancestors, because we are very busy living life in everything that we're doing in this three-dimensional world. But our ancestors are no longer in this world. They're coming from the sixth dimension, which is the dimension of the soul. And in that dimension, we believe they can be in 1 million places in 1,000th of a second. So simultaneously, they can be everywhere. That's the power of our ancestors. They no longer move or live life on the time and space like we do. They transcend this time and this space. Therefore, they're interdimensional beings. And from that sixth dimension we're talking about, they can be anywhere. They can be everywhere. So that's why they're with us here always, wherever we are, wherever we go. Deep gratitude to our ancestors for their protection, for their blessings. Then we need to give thanks to our sacred cosmic father, cosmic mother. Mother and Father God. We believe in the Andes that you cannot be here if it wasn't for the father and the mother. You cannot be here if it wasn't for God, Creator, as a father, and God, Creator, as a mother. In fact, in the Andes, we have called this cosmic father, cosmic mother, sacred time and sacred space. Sacred space is our goddess, creator, our mother, and sacred time is our God, creator, our father. So you cannot experience life had it not been thanks to our sacred time, sacred space, our cosmic father, our cosmic mother. And that's why when you refer to our creator, to our God, you must always refer to both mother and father, even though in essence, we know it transcends gender. We know in essence that it is not feminine or masculine, but in order for it to be manifested for us in this world, in these realms, becomes a father and also a mother. So we give deep gratitude for our cosmic father, cosmic mother, blessing this moment and blessing this space. For us here in the Andes, living in ceremony is the only way we're living life. Everything is ceremony. Every thousandth of a second of our lives is ceremony. It is happening within sacred time. It is happening within sacred space. It is happening thanks to sacred time, thanks to sacred space. We believe whether you are on a mountaintop meditating, whether you are in a bar drinking a martini, whether you are in front of the computer working, you are experiencing all of that in ceremony and thanks to sacred time, sacred space. So for this reason, we must always bless our life and any moment and every moment of it as sacred ceremony. And be grateful because apparently it's not our ceremony. So when we talk about ceremony, we always believe that we're in ceremony, but not our ceremony. For example, air is in ceremony in order for you to breathe. Earth is in ceremony in order for you to be alive. The fire is in ceremony in order for you to love. The water is in ceremony in order for you to flow. So apparently, the ceremony is of God, Mother and Father. The ceremony is of Mother Earth. The ceremony is of the ancestors. The ceremony is of the elements. The ceremony is of sacred spirit. But here's the best part. You are the center of this ceremony. You are the reason for them to be in ceremony. So when you connect with them, it is very important to connect with them in gratitude. To say, thank you, air, for letting me breathe. Thank you, earth, for letting me live. Thank you, fire, for letting me love. And so on and so on. The sun is in ceremony in order for you to have the day. The moon is in ceremony in order for you to have the night. Everybody is in ceremony, always. And you are the reason why they're in ceremony. This is how, in our traditions and our cosmovision, we see ceremony. When we're complete with this gratitude prayer in these three powerful levels, first to Mother Earth, because you're physically here present with this sacred Pachamama, then to our ancestors, because they're around you always, and then to Cosmic Father, Cosmic Mother, because only thanks to them are you able to experience this life, and you're able to have consciousness, and you're able to connect with spirit, and your soul is able to live in your physical body, and your physical body is able to exist with all of its intelligence and powerful systems to be here in this earth, adapting, harmonizing with whatever process you go through here in this planet, whether it's temperatures, whether it's climates, whether it's physical, emotional, psychological processes. So we always give thanks in these three levels. And lastly, we will say thank you to the cycle that is closing, to the cycle that is ending, which for us, that was 2021. We need to say thank you to that cycle, however it has been for us, whether it has been filled with blessings or filled with challenges. In any way, it was the gift of sacred time and sacred space. And when you give thanks, you are blessing that cycle being closed. You are automatically changing your energy field, your mindset, and your consciousness, because as soon as one cycle closes, another cycle begins. And as we are still within this whole new year of 2022, we are in powerful times of transformation, of healing, of changes, of manifestations, and like I said at the beginning, even of detachment, specifically in this year. Now, some of our brothers and sisters here in the Andes, and I think that's pretty much also in many indigenous communities and native lands, they don't believe in these new years, in this Gregorian calendar. You know, they celebrate other New Year traditions. Like, for example, for us, the most important New Year we just begun was in the solstice, 21st of December. Our ancestors used to always mark their calendars, solar calendars, according to solstice and equinoxes. We're going to work on that when we work with the Mesa. They used to mark their calendars according to lunar cycles. So they would have 13 months of powerful processes throughout the year. And then they used to mark their calendars according to cosmic events. Our ancestors were so advanced that they were actually specialized in reading the journey of the stars, of the planets, the movements, the alignments. And those times were also celebrated as powerful calendars. So we have so many calendars worldwide that so many ancient cultures knew about, that why are we putting so much emphasis on this calendar? I'll tell you why. Nowadays, throughout the planet, there's a huge percentage of our brothers and sisters who live now on these cycles. Like, consciously or unconsciously, they give power to these new year cycles. Whether it's because of the political systems, whether it's because of the government, whether it's because it's just society that is bringing in this consciousness. Nowadays, people really believe in these new year cycles. And so all it needs is for enough of us to believe or to be connected consciously on the change of these times. And that's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it epic. And if we use such a collective spiritual force, if we use such a powerful collective consciousness, it can create for us so many blessings. And this is why we use still even these Gregorian calendars. And, you know, as I told you, we're working with many calendars. Since December 21st until today that we're in this class, we have begun and completed at least 7 cycles. Because of the new moon, because of the new years, because of the solstice, because of planetary alignments, So we're being 7 times blessed with new cycles, with new life. So any opportunity we have to start new, we must take it, and we must use it consciously in order to bring to our lives that renewal, which, especially in these times, we need. So after we've given thanks to those cycles that are closing, now our consciousness, our focus will move towards programming 2022. And we're going to work according to this Gregorian calendar that we have, the 12 months that we have. So January, what is January about? So what I will bring for us is different cycles that connect us to these specific months, which, even if I speak about the agricultural cycles, for example, in the North Hemisphere is the opposite. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it could be the same. But for example, seeding time for us is harvest time for you. You know, it's opposites. So I'm going to bring all of these energies, and you take from it whatever you would like to program. So for example, January is the month here in the Andes of production. It's the rainy season. Everything is in fertility mode. Potatoes are starting to bloom. The corn is starting to bloom. Everywhere it's green because it's raining so much. Because here we only have 2 weather cycles, actually, dry season and wet season. So we're in the wet season right now because of the rains. So everything is green, everything is in fertility, everything is in creation. So the month of January for us, it's like the beginning of the week, you know, when we're starting to put all of our energy towards projections, towards our work, towards our mission, towards our purpose. So the month of January for us is the month to bring in powerful fertility energy and project for 2022. So you have all this month to envision yourself, whether you are traveling, whether you need a new house, whether you need a new job. What do you need? What would you like to manifest this year? The month of January has a lot of fertility energy to produce that. And in this month, we need to program that list of manifestations for 2022. In that list of manifestations in the month of January, as everything is projects, as everything is visioning, as everything is programming, it's very important we are generous with ourselves. Whatever in the past took 2, 3, 4 years, now it can take 2, 3, 4 months. Everything is accelerated in these times of transition. When we're going from one era to another, everything accelerates. Even processes of thousands of years shrink to processes of a matter of days, hours, minutes. That's why all of a sudden, my wonderful family, we're in a global consciousness. All of a sudden, now we are the whole world. We kind of almost forget that we're in countries, in different regions of the planet. But the main consciousness throughout the planet nowadays is we're in this world, we're in this planet, we're in a planetary consciousness. To arrive to such a level in ancient times, it would have taken so many years, so many months of projects. Nowadays, with this technology, it's in a matter of seconds. We connect throughout the whole planet. So everything is accelerated. So be generous with yourselves. We are in a completely different time cycle and time process than in the past. Write down a list of everything you would like to manifest this year. You can either be specific to what you would like to manifest, or even when you would like to manifest it by. It could be within the next months only. The month of February. For us, at that point, is already harvest. I mean, the different cycles of the harvest that we have, which goes all the way till May, in February, we're already receiving the gifts of Pachamama, the new potatoes, the new corn, the new faba beans, the new fruits. It's the time of, the fish, the avocados being abundant in the lakes, in the trees. It's a time already to manifest abundantly. So the month of February for us needs to be programmed to receive. So month of January, we are making the list of projections of projects and visions, which is like seeding time. And already in February, we're harvesting. So you need to visualize, you need to program something very big being manifested, materialized in the month of February for you. Very fast, in just a matter of weeks. And the whole month is a month of receiving these gifts. It's a special month. Now, because everything is in bloom and because there is a lot of fertility, in some parts of the earth where everything is snow and it's covered in white, we believe that it's a sacred time of Pachamama, of Mother Earth, because she's dressed in white to be in ceremony with you. So she becomes pure and she's going through a purification process for you. So you are also pure. It's a time of many festivities. One of the most important festivities in the month of February, and this one I would like to also highlight for each one of you, is giving offering back to Mother Earth for whatever we have received. There are only 2 times in a year when we emphasize giving offerings to Pachamama for her gifts. The one month is February and the other month is August. So in February, many people in the communities in the Andes will be giving many offerings to Mother Earth, and they will be receiving many gifts already. The month of March, harvest continues. Powerful manifestations, powerful co-creation. The month of March is for circles to gather, for people to gather. This is the time when, after you have given yourself 2 months of retreat to yourself, in the month of March, people start gathering already for important events. What is the important event in March that needs to call our attention? Is equinox. In the 22nd of March, we have the equinox, which is when the sun arrives to a central point in the equator line, where our Earth aligns with that central point of the journey of the sun. On its journey, let's see, in March is on its journey to the north. As the sun is traveling to the north right now, in March, it arrives to that middle point, which is the zenith, and then from there it journeys north until June. So such a journey, such a spot in the center in March for us is all about spiritual alignments. It's all about, again, a cycle of giving thanks for what we received and already programming anew for the next 3 months until June 21st, which is the solstice, which is the farthest point the sun travels towards the north. And then the sun will start journeying south again. So the month of March is for us to gather, is the opening up of the circles, is the communion of the families, of the communities. And we need to program by this time, my wonderful family, how is our process in the community level going to be with all these new restrictions and new variants and all these COVID? We need to be conscious of that too. What do we want to see in March? That the community comes out and can be together again without any limitations, without new variants, without new restrictions. We want freedom. So we want to program for the month of March already and on a lot of liberating energy. Month of April is again another cycle where we continue seeding again, meaning we envision and we project for the rest of the year. So far we have experienced so many gifts, so many blessings, and now we want these blessings to be directed specifically to some projects, to some members in the family, to specific projects we have. So in the month of April, we're working on projections again and envisioning. In that process, it's the possibility for new jobs, is the possibility for traveling, is the possibility for new home. Is right after equinox, and as the sun is still journeying north, it is carrying powerful energy of manifestation. I will explain to you when we work with the Mesa how that works. Then in the month of May is when the harvest process in the Andes is completed. The month of May is a month of connection to the stars, is a month of connection to the constellations, to say thank you for everything we have received from Mother Earth, from our lives, from our family, from our community. And it's a time when we're connecting with the last process, with the last journey of the sun. So also a month of manifesting. Whatever that you need, a house, a car, a business, a profession, you need to be generous with yourself. And you need to write down for the month of May something very generous for yourself also. In the Andes is the return of the Southern Cross constellation of the Pleiades to our sky as soon as it's dark. So that marked a very important time. I mean, these constellations are for us the most generous constellations that bring us wisdom, sacred knowledge, good health. So powerful month for healing. But even more powerful is June. June is the month of the sun, is the month of the solstice. For people in the north is summer solstice. For people in the south, for us, is winter solstice. That actually is another new year in the Andes. Many people throughout Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Argentina, Chile, north of Chile, and all of Peru celebrate this time as the Andean New Year. So in this month, everything is about healing. And what we want to focus on this programming of the months is we want to bring in a lot of healing. But we want to focus on it in the month of June. So whatever we're going through right now, we are conscious of our health, of taking good care of our health, but just in case our health was vulnerable and our health needed some work, then the month of June is the month to focus on our healing process. The sun stops journeying towards the north. That's its farthest point in the north journey. And harvest is complete. Although in the northern hemisphere for you, seeding is complete. And Pachamama goes through a process of rest. Mother Earth goes through a process of rest. That's why probably throughout the planet, those are the months when people like to go on summer vacations, like to go on holidays. It's not just us choosing that time to rest, it actually is the time of Mother Earth to rest. And so she gives the energy of travel, fun, joy, leisure, taking it easy for her children also, for humanity as well. So the month of July is taking it easy, relaxing, traveling, definitely, but it's a personal process, time to focus on yourself. Whether to go on a journey with the family or whether to retreat to yourself and just be by yourself, but resting, taking it easy, not working so hard. And that's the month of July, leisure. Month of August, back to work. This is the month, as I told you, that we celebrate Pachamama again here. Everybody is starting to plow the earth. Before plowing the earth, we must ask permission to Pachamama. And we do that by giving offerings to Mother Earth and asking her permission to plow the earth again, to prepare the fields again so that they can produce. So the month of August is to project powerful work, whatever that you have, circles, seminars, workshops. It's a very powerful month to activate that work energy again. And we're completing another cycle just like that, very fast. September, equinox. Another powerful time for us. In the month of September, the sun arrives to that middle point again on its journey towards the south. And it's the activation of the divine feminine energy, powerful goddess energy. Maybe that's why in the Catholic Church, they celebrate Virgin Mary in this month so much. And it's also the month of Virgo, the sign. It's the month of the goddess. So in this month, closing of the cycles, giving gratitude for what you've received since June, July, August. So you give gratitude, you bring in another closing to a cycle. You have manifested so much, and in this month you are closing these cycles and you are ready to open up a new one. Month of October is again projections. You only have now 2 more months to close this 22 cycle? What did you not achieve? What is in the waiting list? And even though they tell you it's a long-term process, it needs a lot more months, what can you make happen in those last 2 months? So October is a very busy month for us to continue projecting, envisioning, and working on what we want to make happen this year. And this is the month with the power of the goddess, with the power of the divine feminine in September, that we have a lot of energy and a lot of possibilities to make these things happen. Month of November is already harvest again. Whatever you projected, whatever you envisioned, the month of November is the month of manifestation. Especially because in the Andes, we celebrate this month our ancestors. On the 1st of November, we celebrate the Day of the Living, which is all of us being alive, and we celebrate the miracle of life. And on the 2nd of November, we celebrate the Day of the Ancestors, the Day of the Dead. Everybody who have completed their life cycle on this planet. And people go to the cemeteries and connect with the ancestors, and that's what happens. You connect with the ancestors and a lot of magic starts happening around you. You connect with the ancestors and a lot of miracles start happening around you. So this month is a month of powerful manifestations. The month of December will be half and half. It will be closing the cycle of the year in deep gratitude, most importantly for good health, for awesome service to our family, to our community throughout the planet, and the other half is preparing for 2023. You already need to be diligently and consistently working on what 2023 is about. Whatever you would like to manifest for that year. On a not so specific way, like we're working on each month, but in a more general way. And that way we program these powerful cycles, my wonderful family. Each month we work with the powerful forces of the cosmos, of the universe, of astronomical events, of agricultural calendars, solar calendars, lunar calendars. What I shared with you about these months and programming these months is referential, because that's what we can do in 1 hour. When you work on it constantly, you need to be more specific. For example, the month of your birthday is a very important month. That month, you need to give yourself extra attention before your birthday and after your birthday. And of course, that day of your birthday, you also need to program something special. One time I asked my great-grandmother, who was 115, and I asked her, that question that we always ask our elders: how did you live such a long life and be in good health? And she used to say, I celebrate my birthdays in a big way. Every year for me, it's like a whole lifetime. And she would always tell me that, Puma, remember to celebrate your birthday. With family or by yourself, always have a good meal, always have a conscious acknowledgement and honoring of you being here in this earth. So the month of your birthday is epic. I mean, nowadays we only think about a birthday gift, but those birthday gifts While they can be materialized and physical, they also need to be spiritual. They also need to be an epiphany, a discovery, a self-realization, an initiation, a powerful healing time, a renewal time. It's your new dance around the sun, so that needs to be celebrated. And everybody else's birthdays, like of the family and of the community, is complementary. Your birthday is basic though. That month is basic. You need to work on it extra. Okay? We have now specific days, as I told you, February and August, to celebrate Mother Earth, to celebrate Pachamama. Though, remember to constantly celebrate Mother Earth. Remember to constantly celebrate our ancestors. Remember to constantly bless this sacred time, this sacred space with a gratitude prayer. And then we're set. Our spiritual life will be filled with magic and infinite blessings. So, we're going to give ourselves a 10-minute rest. If you need water, if you need to go to the restroom, if you need to write down. When we come back, please, I would like to make this a bit open for everyone so that you can also ask questions at any moment. Or if you need more clarity on some things, or you can put it in the chat, or you can put your hands up and I will ask you to unmute. So we'll make this participative for everybody. Okay? See you back in 10 minutes. Any questions? Anything you would like me to highlight before we enter into talking about our Apus, our powerful mountain spirits? So you can just put it in the text, or you can raise your hand if you have any questions. Awesome. All right. Now we're going to learn about our Apus, the powerful mountain spirits. Here in the Andes, in all the spiritual work that medicine men and medicine women have, we always rely, we always depend, we always call on powerful spirit forces, beings of light that came from the stars, that now live in the land on whole mountains, which we call Apus, A-P-U. And since ancestral times, for thousands of years, our people here in the Andes called on these powerful forces as sacred benefactor, spirit allies that you could have in your life for the rest of your life. These mountain spirits, these sacred Apus, are powerful spirit forces, conscious, intelligent spirit forces that are existing among us. Everywhere where we go throughout the planet, there are Apus. You have global Apus that are more of a global presence that most people in the planet know about. There are regional Apus that are specific Apus that are mountain spirits that are sacred to a specific region. And we even have local Apus, which are the Apus that are right around our houses, right where we live. Even in places where there are no hills, where the land is flat, even in those places there are Apus. So in those cases, you would look for power places. You would look for vortexes. You would look for magnetic fields. And those are apus. Because usually where there is an apu, there is this vortex of powerful energy that is flowing from the land for the whole family, for the whole community. So we believe our apus are timeless beings. While you call on them to be in ceremony with you, apparently for them to be in ceremony with you for 100 years, let's say 24/7, for 100 years that you will live in this earth. Apparently for our apus, that only is 1 second. So they can give you 1 second of their life, which for you, it will be your whole lifetime. And when you have these powerful apus as your allies, then you have access to not only superior consciousness, but also powerful energy that exists in a much more higher frequency of vibration. Because energy, there are 2 types, like we have shared before. There is heavy energy and there is light energy. Heavy energy is called hucha in Quechua, and light energy is called sami. And these energies existed here, programmed from the moment of creation, right from the beginning of times. And so we always say, heavy and light energy was here before you, it will be here after you. Like we have the day and the night, like we have the dark and the light, like we have the bad and the good. We live in a world of polarities. There's always these 2 polarities. However, also, we believe we're not from here. In the Andes, if you ask anybody in the mountains where we come from, they will always tell you we come from the stars. We're honorary guests of Pachamama. Our soul journeyed from across our galaxy. That's why we believe that once we leave our physical body, we're going to journey through the river of life, across the river of life, back to the sun that never rises neither sets. Not this sun we have that is the physically manifested, but the absolute sun, which is the absolute consciousness. We all originate from there, and it's across our galaxy. That's what we know. So you don't belong to the polarities, but you have to live with them while you are here. You have to have the day and the night while you are here, even though you come from nor the light nor the darkness. You transcend all of that. Our apus always exist in the highest frequencies of vibration. Their energy is so strong that sometimes it's almost overwhelming to our energy field, to our physical body. When you go to the presence, or when you call on the apus, and I'm going to bring that as an example for all of us to experience today, because we're going to prepare 4 apus. We need to have 4 apus ready today for each direction. So start thinking about and search about powerful mountains throughout the planet, or powerful mountains around you. You just need to have 4 though. But let's call on Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is a volcano. No. It's a mountain in Africa. Very sacred to the people of that region. I don't really know the altitude of it in meters or feet, but apparently it's a very high mountain and a highly regarded, highly known mountain. And for us, it's an Apu. If some of you know it, awesome. And if you don't know it, you will get to know it in a second, because we're going to call on it. So visualize yourself, close your eyes, visualize yourselves inside a gigantic crystal. Breathe deeply once. And call on this powerful mountain spirit. You need to call it Apu Kilimanjaro. I call on you to be in this sacred space. You called on a powerful force, a powerful spirit. As soon as you call on the name, as soon as you call on the sacred spirit, it will show up in your sacred space. Every sensation, every thought, every emotion, every feeling, everything counts. The presence of this Apus is so powerful. It's okay if it's a little overwhelming. It's okay if it's a little too intense. That's their energy. So Apu Kilimanjaro is right now with you. You are safe and you are fine because you are inside a crystal. Just feel the presence of Apu Kilimanjaro with you right now. Breathe in deeply. And we just say, thank you, Apu Kilimanjaro, for visiting me in ceremony. And we open our eyes. Could you feel the energy of Apu Kilimanjaro? Maybe? Awesome.
Definitely.
Beautiful. So imagine, this is just when you're calling on the Apu. Imagine when you're in the presence, in the actual spot where this mountain is located. It's so energy expanding. It's so awakening. It's so liberating. It's so initiating. It's so powerful. This is the power of our Apus. And this is Kilimanjaro mountain that, you know, we're not necessarily working with or we're calling in to work with. We just invited this mountain to our sacred space. So what do shamans do? Here in the Andes, all healers call on Apus in order to support and help the healing of our brothers and sisters. Yes, a headache is possible, Steph, because we're not used to vibrating in the frequency of these mountains. You shouldn't have had the headache because we were inside a crystal. Why did we visualize ourselves inside a crystal before calling on the Apu? If you just call on the Apu right now, I think actually you should experience the difference. Close your eyes and call on Mount Shasta from California. It's a powerful mountain to the native people in that land, Shasta, Apu Shasta. So we just say, Apu Shasta, welcome to this sacred space. And we say, thank you for showing up. And we open our eyes. Did you notice the difference when you're not inside the crystal? Okay, crystals have the power to only channel high frequency energy only. Crystals cannot channel heavy energy. It's impossible. It's not their nature. So if there is too much heavy energy and a crystal can't take it, can't channel, can't transform it, it'll just simply break. It'll just break. Crystals break. But when it doesn't break, it has the power to, as soon as it's in touch with heavy energy, it transforms it to light, high frequency energy in 1,000th of a second. Because that's its nature, that's its power. So all shamans in the Andes have crystals. Everybody has like a crystal necklace, a crystal something, a crystal in their Mesa. I mean, you will see that when we open our Mesa in the last part of our teachings today. You always have a crystal. And when you don't have a physical crystal, you are the crystal. You are inside the crystal. And I'll tell you how that scientifically is true. The particle of quantum is quartz. So in your most microscopic being, you are already quartz crystal. So your nature at that cellular level is to be crystal quartz. So you have that nature, you have that coding, you have that information way deep in your micro self. So when you visualize inside a crystal, when you visualize yourself inside a crystal, which is a very ancient practice, you are only activating the nature that you have to be a crystal. And what's that nature? To only channel high frequency energy, to only exist with Sami. That's all you're doing with a fun visualization of imagining a gigantic crystal and you're in it. That's just the fun part. The actual thing that's happening is that vision is activating your nature to be a crystal. So we constantly see ourselves inside a crystal when we have a lot of intense, heavy energy around us, whether with the family, with the community, anywhere, like especially in public areas. All it takes is 1,000ths of a second. You just need to close your eyes for a second, see yourself inside a crystal, and done. Immediately your energy changes. I'll have you another exercise right now. Breathe in deeply right now. That's a miraculous breath of life. A regular, normal breath of life. Now, visualize yourself inside a crystal and breathe in deeply. That's what I'm talking about. I hope you were able to experience the difference. Because it's huge. When you breathe in, as you're visualizing yourself inside a crystal, your breath becomes very fine. It becomes very fine. It's almost like the air becomes extra cool. And there is so many other miracles to it. So crystals have the nature to only channel high frequency energy. And we can access that even just by visualizing ourselves inside a crystal, by holding crystals in our hands, by having crystals in our home, having crystals everywhere. It's just makes our life so much more high frequency energy. Thank you for sharing the process of what's happening for you with these crystals. So when you visualize yourself inside a crystal, you are forcing yourself to exist in that high frequency. So when you do that, as you're calling in an Apu who is always existing in high frequency energy, always, ever, always, you're kind of calibrating your energy field to exist with the energy field of the Apus. That alone is already very magical. Just doing that, calling on the Apus while visualizing yourself inside a crystal, it's already a very powerful healing ceremony and a powerful ritual practice for thousands of years here in the Andes. Because what you need to know is in this earth exist so many life kingdoms, and humanity, the human kingdom, is only one of them in the circle of many kingdoms of life in the planet. And guess what? The human consciousness is the only one that is vibrating at the lowest frequency than most other living beings on the planet. Everybody else in nature, animal spirits, elemental beings, are existing in a much higher frequency, in a much higher energy vibration than we are. We're the only ones who are existing low. Why? Because we're interdimensional beings. While you are right now here with me in ceremony, a part of you is with some family member psychologically. A part of you is in some other place emotionally. And energetically, I'm not going to even count. That's everywhere. Energetically, you are everywhere. You're here for the family, for the community, for your loved ones, for your friends, for the people you like, for the people you don't like. Like, you're everywhere for them. It's one of our natures. One of our natures is to be interdimensional beings. You think you're here right now, but you're actually not here right now. You're simultaneously in parallel dimensions. You're just not conscious of them yet. And that's one of the things that as a shaman, as a healer, we must master. We need to consciously travel through parallel dimensions and know exactly when we're traveling, why we're traveling, and also choose not to. If we can. If we need to be fully present here, then we would choose not to travel in those parallel dimensions. That also is possible. But otherwise, unconsciously, we're everywhere in time and space. That's just our nature. It's who we are. So because we are everywhere, we're defragmented. And when we're defragmented, we're vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, we're existing in a low frequency of vibration. That's the simple reason why human beings are the only ones in the earth who can exist in a low frequency of vibration. Everybody else, talk about a plant, a mineral, an animal, they are existing always in the highest frequencies of vibrations. Why? Because they're in that dimension. They're not multidimensional as we are. They're not as interdimensional as we are. So a powerful nature that we have, when we can't master it and we don't know how to use it, can actually play against us in making our frequency of vibration low. So apparently we're the only ones who are vibrating in the lowest frequency. And when you connect with everybody else in the planet, such as Apus, who we're talking about right now, they're always existing in a much higher frequency than we are. Therefore, it is always beneficial. It is always in service to you to connect with them. It helps you vibrate in a high frequency of vibration. Like some of you felt light energy, felt a little bit more joy. I mean, with all the collective fear, with all the collective guilt, with all the collective doubt, heavy energies that are everywhere, which is literally in the air you breathe, it's awesome to feel this light energy, which is joy, happiness, inner peace, harmony. Who is going to help us transform this process we have in life? Our Apus. That's why it's very important to call on our Apus. And they're spirits of light who came from the stars, who live in this land, who live in nature. We say timeless beings, but they're our ancestors. Originally, they were called to live here in this planet also. They're not from this planet. When we connect with our Apus, we're giving ourselves the possibility to exist in much higher frequency. Yes, Anna, trees and stones as well. They're all part of Pachamama existing in a much higher frequency than we are. So apparently, Pachamama, our mother, is the top. She's the chief. She's the general. She's the master of all sacred space and sacred time, of all ceremony. You call on her first and last, because you're here in this earth. After that, you call on the Apus, which are powerful beings of light who, since unmemorable times, were programmed to look after humanity. Apparently, these Apus were these gigantic, powerful beings of light that existed in this planet who had the power to create, to co-create, but they were in competition. Apparently, they had some arrogance also. And in the myths, they speak about the Apus. It's beautiful myths we have about Apus, that there were times when they were told to create something beautiful in the plant kingdom, and they were all creating flowers and plants, and one would show off more than the other. And whenever God, Father and Mother would ask them, "Are you having fun, my son? Do you need anything?" And in their arrogance, they said, no, we don't need anything. I'm cool. We don't need anything. I'm preparing this beautiful flower with 7 colors. And because of their arrogance, they became enchanted and they could no longer move. While they still had the power to co-create, while they still had the power over the elements and powerful creation energy, they could no longer move. So they became enchanted in the land. And their main task, their main project was no longer to create. They still had the power, so if they wanted to, they can, but it was no longer their mission. Their mission now was to look after the new children of light in this earth, which was us. Apparently, humanity arrived like a rain of stars to the planet, and these beings were always supposed to look after us. That was their job. And ever since, they became our protectors, our guardians. So these Apus have access to elemental forces. They have access, they're in a high hierarchy. So the children of Pachamama, the children of the Apus, are plants, animal spirits, all kingdoms of life in nature, elementals, powerful spirit forces, essences. And in the hierarchy of children, apparently the plants are at the top. So trees, flowers, all those plant spirits, plant beings are in a much higher hierarchy than we are. They were the first ones that the Apus look after. The second is the animals of all kingdoms, flying, four-legged, swimming water animals. From the smallest, tiniest to the biggest, they're in a much higher hierarchy than we are. They're our older brothers and sisters. And third is the humanity, the human children. We're the third in the hierarchy of the children of the Apus and Pachamama. So you will see in life that these Apus will always benefit, will always prioritize plants and animals before us. It's throughout history, it's throughout the planet. In many ancient cultures, myths and legends, they always speak about that. And I mean, that doesn't make us less because we're last. It just means that's how humble we need to be in life and need to know where we are in that family hierarchy. The younger you are, the more humble you are, and the more respectful you need to be to your older brothers and sisters, which are the plants and the animals. I'm just checking Conita's question here. Conita, when we're visualizing ourselves inside a crystal, we're forcing our frequency of vibration to be high. We're activating that powerful nature of the crystal inside to be activated. We're still scattered though. We're not quite completely ourselves yet until we call ourselves back. So calling ourselves back is basic. What the crystal is doing is only refining our energy field, but that doesn't mean all of our energy is here in this energy field. Calling ourselves back is another practice we have in our shamanic practices in the Andes, where we call parts of our soul that are scattered in the parallel dimensions. And that's also a very important practice, which we will learn as we're working with our Mesa. Back to our Apus. So these Apus, not only they are powerful masters, powerful guardians, powerful guides, but they're looking after all living beings in the planet, and that's including us. So it's very important that when we're going to call our Apus, when we're going to call on Pachamama, just as soon as you say their name, immediately their energy arrives to your sacred space. So how do you call on Apus? You call on them by name. So for example, in every land, indigenous lands especially, everybody knows the name of their Apus, a specific mountain. They have a contemporary name, while they also have the original name in some ancient language, or one that they were told it was for their ancestors. So those names are frequencies of vibration. They're like specific energetic codes, like our names are. If anybody calls on my name, you know, Puma, I mean, there are so many Pumas, okay? There are so many Pumas, but there's a specific coding to Puma Quispe. So if anybody calls on me and says, you know, Puma, but from Chinchero, from Peru, anybody, if you call on me, specifically that energy ley line is activated. And a part of me, because I have that nature, will arrive to that person that is saying my name and is talking about Puma from Chinchero. I mean, there's Pumas throughout Peru, there's tons, but in Chinchero, there's only one. So there's a specific coding to our name, the same thing that Apus have. There could be a little small hill called Kilimanjaro somewhere else, like it happened to me once in Greece. In Greece, we have this mountain called Olympus. Olympus. Same name on a mountain in Cyprus, in an Ireland, besides Turkey. So when I was in Greece calling on Mount Olympus, the energy was not coming from the mountain there, it was coming from Cyprus. And the little difference for me to learn from them directly was that I needed to say Olimpo, not Olympus, without the S. And that little secret coding deferred both of these mountains. So there could be a Kilimanjaro hill somewhere, but when you say Apu Kilimanjaro, it's the Apu from Africa that will arrive to you. So their name is a specific coding, and your consciousness, why you're calling them, who you're calling, it's an extra coding that calls in this essence, this spirit, to your sacred energy field. So the first thing you need to know is their name. You need to know their names. You need to research any local myths, legends, stories about these mountains. And that will be like a hint, like a reference for you to know more about this spirit of light. And the more you know, the more you research, the more you call on the Apus, the stronger the communion, the more powerful the connection becomes. And that way, you start inviting them to become a part of your family, of your spirit family. I mean, we call them allies, but that's just an official term for who they really are for us. They're actually our family. When we talk about Apus, we have stories of, like, for example, my grandfather used to say, Apu Antequilca is the main Apu in my village, in Chinchero. It means the golden doorway. And my grandfather says, this Apu knows more about you than you know about yourself. He used to say, this Apu was here when you were born. This Apu saw your first steps, heard your first words, was there more present than your father and your mother for you. They're always looking after our life path, our life journey. So if you want to know more about yourself, you need to ask this local Apu. He knows more about you than you know about yourself. That's what he used to say. So our Apus have always been there for us. They have seen the beginning of our lives, and they will see all the way until it's completed. Once you call on an Apu to be a part of your circle, of your sacred space, they can be for you available for the rest of your life. Even if that was 100 years, for them it's only a second. So there are spirits of the land right where you are or where you grew up that know about you, that know you, that have been looking after you, that you may be unconscious of them. And if, for example, let's say you moved from the place where you were born, then that local Apu reports to the new Apu where you're living now about who you are, where you come from, everything. And this new Apu reports back to the Apu of your birthplace This is what's happening with her, with him. This is like he's blooming, he's growing, or he's struggling, he's suffering, he needs help, he needs support. They always talk, they always communicate, and they always know, they always get feedback, they always give report about your life path. And the cool part about this Andean shamanism is that's what you get access to when you work with the Apus. Because literally, if you ask them about anybody in the village, these Apus will tell you and will show you. And it's so delicate. But for example, if you have somebody who is very ill in bed and everybody else says it was just an accident, it was something that happened, you ask the Apu, what happened? And the Apu will tell you, well, it's actually not physical, it's emotional. You need to look after this process. He's in love or she's in love, or is it deceivement, is fear, is doubt. And the Apus tell you how to support this person because they know. That's why grandfather used to say, whenever you go to a mountain, tell the Apu your life story. Tell the Apu who you are, where you come from. Or he will tell you because the Apu already knows. So this is the beauty, this is the essence of our powerful Apus. Local Apus of our birthplace and local Apus where we live, who are always looking after us, who are always protecting us and guiding us in our life. And then we have global Apus, which are specific mountains. Like, for example, who doesn't know about Everest? I mean, Mount Everest is the highest mountain on the planet. Of course, you're going to learn about it, at least in school. But if you're a person that comes from, this tradition in the Andes where you put extra attention to these powerful mountains, you will know more. And you will be taken to the people that have that knowledge. And the Apu will start telling you through their community, through their myths and legends, more about the Apu so that you know as well. So those are global Apus. Apus like Mount Fuji, Kailash, Everest, Shasta, the highest mountains on the planet. You just research that and you have there a crew of powerful beings of light, ready to be in ceremony with you and to be a part of your spiritual alliance. Apus have the power to transform energy like crystals do. Apus always exist in a much higher frequency. But here's the thing, and as we were speaking about Apus before we call on them, I also want to say that here in the Andes, like everywhere in the planet, I guess, there is medicine men and medicine women who are very busy in service to the family, to the community, healing, guiding, supporting the processes of the family and the community. And at the same time, there are also medicine men and medicine women who are causing trouble. I'll just say that. Who are consciously or unconsciously working with heavy energy. And so my grandfather used to say, these people who are causing trouble, these people who are hurting other people, do you think they're working with different Apus? No, they're working with the same Apus like we are. If you call on Apu Kilimanjaro to heal somebody, that is going to be a powerful healing experience. If you call on Apu Kilimanjaro to hurt somebody, that is going to be an intense process. And yes, Apu Kilimanjaro will participate in that. Why? These are beings who exist in a much higher frequency, in a much more powerful consciousness and more evolved intelligence, Why would they hurt somebody when you call on them to hurt somebody? And then I received the most beautiful story of my grandfather after this question. He said, our Apus are this unconditional loving force. They don't care why you're calling on them. They're not going to judge. They're not going to even participate in that high frequency, low frequency dance. No. They're here for you unconditionally. They're not responsible for where you move their energy. You are responsible for where you move this energy. You need to be in absolute consciousness of whether you're choosing to serve with their powerful energy or not. That is no longer their part. Their part is to be here unconditionally for you when you call on them, without judgments, without conditions. How beautiful is that? That just marked the rest of my life in communion even more, because it was just like, wow. Of course, the immediate nature that we also have is to exist at that frequency. Can we be that unconditional? And you can master that. You can master to love unconditionally like that also. To always be able to be there for family and community, regardless. Because your part is not those low or high frequencies. Your part is to show up there for the family and the community, like our Apus do. So grandfather used to say, yeah, these people who are working with heavy energy, who are hurting other people, they're calling on our very same Apus. It's just that our Apus are no longer responsible for what we choose to do with this energy. We're responsible for that. And they will not even get in the Aini of it. The Aini of it is, Aini is a word in Quechua which means reciprocity, but it's actually a cosmic law. It's more than reciprocity. It's a cosmic law that says nothing ever goes one way. Everything is always in a constant both-way exchange. So that's why we need to be responsible for how we move these powerful forces and energies we access to when we connect with our Apus. So prepare for Apus, for powerful mountain spirits, among local, regional, or global Apus. We only need 4 to work with today and to program in our Mesa. And since you don't have the crystals and the stones, I'm going to teach you the basic foundation of how to create this Mesa, how to program it, so that you understand the alchemy and the magic of it. It's one of these amazing, they thought, our ancestors were so clever that they thought, if throughout the planet, in any culture, there is always somebody praying in front of an altar. And in the altar, you're praying to something divine, to something more powerful, to a consciousness that is evolved, to an energy that is so powerful. Why not make that personal? Why not create an altar that is only for you, specifically only for you, and for you to have in this altar everything and anything that is sacred to you. You name it. A phone is sacred for you, have that in that altar. It's a crystal sacred to you, have the crystal in that altar. And whatever is sacred to you is your personal altar. And on top of it, let's make it portable, a bundle. So that wherever you go, you can always open it up and you can open this altar and be in communion with everything that is sacred and divine to you. regardless of the belief system, of the traditions, of the religion, and all of that. Because you should be in ceremony with everything you believe is powerful and sacred and divine to you. No protocols, no rules, no limitations, no religion, nothing. I mean, we don't even have a word for spirituality or religion in our language. It's just life. Life is about ceremony. Life is about blessing it. Life is about acknowledging and honoring that everything is sacred. And how you do that? With a mesa, with your personal altar. That they developed in those thousands of years ever since the first mesas were discovered. They developed a whole science, a whole system to efficiently move powerful energy for the healing of our family and our community and anybody that needs it. So that whenever you had this personal altar, you'd become a high priestess, a high priest who has the power to move powerful healing energy, which is not yours. It's not yours. You just have access to it because you have this altar. You just have access to it because you have this anchorer of powerful healing energy from the planet to be in service for the family, for the community, for the planet. So when we come back, we need to have 4 apus ready. And you probably don't have the crystals or the stones, but I'm going to show you how we program it and how we work with it so that you can always catch up with this process. And it's infinite, the magic and the power you can access when you work with your personal altar. All right, another 10-minute break. I will see you when we come back. So, dear Catherine, if you had these 4 calls, that means definitely already a connection of the Apus through your son, through your cousin. So it's a connection of our Apus. Our Apus connect to us like that. I wanted to, that reminds me, I wanted to share, our Apus can humanize themselves. They become people, they become persons in order to be with you. So how does this work? Let's say you are going to India to visit, Tibet, to visit Apu Everest. When you go there, you're going to meet somebody, a person, young or elder person, who is going to embody the energy of Apu Everest, who will become your guide or your host or somebody very special for you in your life. That's how they humanize. So apparently when you go from one community to another community, the people that you meet there, they represent the Apu of that land. So if I was in that consciousness right now, given that we have some brothers here in this class too, you princesses would represent the goddess energy of the land where you are. So as I'm talking to you, I would be talking to Pachamama. And my brothers here in this class represent the Apus of the land where you are. So when I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to the Apus. That was the consciousness, that was the belief here in the Andes. So Apus do humanize themselves. Juanita, so cool. It was wonderful. I actually got to be there with our school back when traveling was awesome. So that's beautiful. Yes, the chacana is the square of the circle. There is actually beautiful systems of drawing the chacana that you can access nowadays. There is no wrong or perfect, but I am glad I have your email. I'm going to send you the link how to draw the chacana to your email. Hijo, mana juga email jit mo na jit kay ladaman copiar pang kimang na escribir ah. Kay application ngap text. In a piece of cloth, usually we use a woven cloth, but any cloth 40 by 40, 30 by 30 centimeters is perfect to be your mesa cloth. So in a cloth, you need to have open. You need to have 4 stones, 1 for each direction, and 1 crystal in the center. In this case, I have a fossil of a seashell. I don't know if you can see it. This is a seashell fossilized. So it's the kocha, and it also represents Mother Earth. And I have the crystal right on top of it. So I have I have 2 elements in the center. One that represents the divine feminine, Mother Earth, cosmic mother, the divine kocha, and one that represents the powerful center of centers, which is the Auki. You can have more elements in a mesa than just 5 stones. But the most important, even if you didn't have the central piece, and you only had 4, which is also the case of many mesas, each stone represents one direction, one cardinal direction, okay? Apparently, yeah. Apparently, our energy field has 4 doorways. Like if you think about your sacred space right now, it has 4 doorways around you. And you are in the center of it. So the same applies for our mesa. The same applies for our sacred altar. We'll put back the crystal in the center. These doorways are entranceways for masters, guides, guardians, doctors, healer spirits that will come in through the portal of the east, the west, the north, and the south to be in ceremony with you. But most importantly, each portal has to have an Apu as a guardian, as a powerful chief of that direction, of that doorway. So that's why we have 4 stones where we're going to have 4 Apus. So I would like to use the example of one of you who thought about 4 mountains. Just put it in the chat, and I will work with those mountains for today to program them in the Mesa. And I will show you how we program these Apus in the altar, why we program them in those specific ways. So I need 4 Apus. Who has it ready? All right. Sally has 4 Apus she will send us, or anybody else who does it first. All right. Annapurna, Kanchiyunka, Kilimanjaro, and Kilimanjaro. So they're different? I think we have 2 Kilimanjaros. All right. Now we have Apus to choose from right here: Mont Blanc, Everest, Ben Nevis, and Kilimanjaro. Yeah? Dauladash. All right. Okay. So when we're in front of the altar and you put your both hands in the altar, your right hand is south, your left hand is north. Always. That does not change whether you're in the southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere. Wherever you are in the planet, east is east. And in our tradition, in our lineage, we always work facing east. The reason why we prioritize the east is because we're always working with the new light, with the new life, with the new beginnings, with the sunrise energy, so that we're ever new, so that we're ever always new. And that's why we always face to the east. We are sitting in the west, that's the stone that is the closest to you, facing east always. I mean, that doesn't mean that's the only way you work. It's the most recommended way to work. You can work facing north, facing south, facing west. Any direction that you choose is going to be magical. It just has a different nature, a different program, a different power. So when you're working facing the east, you are always making available new healing energy, new potential, new possibilities, new miracles available, because that's what the sunrise is about. With every sunrise, there's a renewal. With every sunrise, there is transformation, rebirth process happening. So we work with that energy as healers because we want to make available for our brothers and sisters something new, something different, something, new to the struggles, to the crises, to the hard processes they're going through. That's why we work with the rising sun. The rising sun activates powerful healing energy for you. And that's why as a general program, general law, you always open up the altar and you are always facing east. And that's why right hand touches the south, left hand touches the north. And that's exactly as it is for anywhere in the planet, for all of us. That doesn't change. East is east. Ever since ancestral times, ancient cultures have always connected their whole life cycle to the east. That's why throughout the world you will find temples that receive the first light of the winter solstice, summer solstice, that receive the first light of equinoxes and important alignments towards the east. For thousands of years, our ancestors have connected with this powerful ley line, which in the Andes we call the ley line of Aini. Aini means nothing ever goes one way. As I receive the new light, as I receive the sunrise, the new beginnings, the new potential, so does the planet receive from me. So does this altar, family, and the community. I'm always renewing myself. I'm always rebirthing myself, starting with that new potential of the new I am. It never goes one way. And that exchange, that powerful cycle exchange is called Aini. Everything is in constant service. It begins in the east and it's completed in the west with the sunset. So you need to have a powerful Apu that inspires that renewal, that rebirth, that new energy for you in the East. So you need to hold in both hands the Apu of the East and call on, I'm going to choose from the list of Apus, Anupunma. Wherever this Apu is, it sounds amazing name. So I'm going to call on Anupuna. Is that right, Sally? Am I saying that right? In Nepal, okay. Apu Anupuna. So you call on this Apu for the portal of the East. Yes, Sally? You can unmute.
It's usually pronounced Annapurna.
Anupana, okay. Apu Anupana. Welcome to this altar. Welcome to the portal of the East, where you will be the reminder of these new cycles, new beginnings, new potential, new healing energy that we will always have access to. You need to breathe on the stone 3 times, and there are different breaths. I should teach you the 3 different breaths. If you want to open up the program, the sacred space or the energetic field, you always breathe with chi, with the sound chi. For example, if you find some blockages or limitations and you want to open up, or you're going to be working with stones and you want to open up the energy field of the stone to bring in a program, you breathe with chi. This is how you do it. With chi. When you want to send powerful healing energy, long distance, especially, or even just, in your energy field, you always breathe out with K, with K, like with that sound, with your tongue. And that moves powerful energy towards to the other side of the planet. It's very powerful breath. And the last breath which we use, and it's the most important to program, is the breath of Ah, which comes from the solar plexus. You always breathe like this. That breath is the only breath that comes all the way from the sexual gland, from the perineum, through the solar plexus, through the heart, to express program. So when you want to call in an Apu to a crystal to an Apu, when you want to program metals, when you want to program wood, when you want to program anything specific, like you can just pray to anything. You always program with that breath, with so Apu and Purna. 3 times. And now we have our Apu of the East programmed. Now we need to come in that ley line to the west, and we hold our kuya, our stone of the west, which is the one that is the closest to you, the one that sits with you. Here you need to have an Apu that you're going to become best buddies with. One that you're going to have most conversations with, one that sits with you in ceremony, one that becomes a witness of your life process, one that tells you stories, you tell stories to, one that is always with you. And this one, in this Mesa, I will call to Dent Blanche from Anne. Wherever this Apu is, it sounds amazing. Apu Dent Blanche. Welcome to this altar to be in ceremony with me, to sit with me in the portal of the West, responsible of whatever cycles and whatever processes to be completed with each setting sun. With 3 breaths, now we have Apuden Planche in the west. This ley line is called the ley line of Aini, from east to west. Is the one that most people work with ever, always, because they're participating in that direct communion, direct connection of you and everything that's divine for you. The ley line of the north and the south is more like a family community ley line, where you have powerful allies in that ley line. So for example, we're going to hold the one that is on your left hand side, which is the north stone, the north portal. And for the north portal, we're going to choose from Suzanne, Vesubio, Apu Vesubio. So, like, the nature of the East is to connect us to the sun rays and the West to the sunset. The portal of the North connects us with the stars, with the heavens, with the cosmos. So Apu Vesubio is the guardian of that portal. So you call on Apu Vesubio. Welcome to this altar to be in ceremony with me, to be the guardian and the portal of the cosmic masters, beings of light, of the confederations of light. With those 3 breaths, the portal of the north is programmed with Apu Vesubio. For the south, which its nature is to connect you with beings of light, with masters, with goddesses, with elements of this earth, of Mother Earth, of this sacred nature. That's what the south portal represents. We're going to call Atlas from Catherine. Atlas Mountains. I really like the name of that Apu for the south. This is like complete adventure for me, because these are Apus I've never worked with before, and they already feel amazing. So Apu Atlas Mountains, welcome to this altar to be the guardian of the portal of the south, where we connect with all of our spirit guardians and guides of this planet, of this sacred nature of Pachamama. Complete. So in the sacred 4 directions now, we have powerful guardians, powerful spirit guides. Wherever you are, even without the Mesa, if you're facing to the east and you want to connect with a very powerful master, you need to call on, I mean, in my case, and I just want to make sure that this is completely protocol free. If you're told from any Mesa carriers throughout the planet that, you know, this is how it should be, this is how you should do it, no, there is no protocols. Nothing is set in this altar, because that's why it's personal. Otherwise, you'd be like an Andean altar or a global altar, or you'd have a different name. This is a personal altar where you are the only one who has absolute power to change programs, to change the Apus, to change the directions, to whatever you like to do in this altar, only you can do, and nobody has more power than you do on this altar. So, for the east, I have Apu Apurna, Ampurna. I like that name. So wherever you are, and you're facing to the sun rays, you can always call on this Apu and have a communion. And you can always say, Apu and Purna, I need a piece of advice. Tell me something. And we're going to practice that right now. So close your eyes. Imagine yourself facing the horizon where the sun is rising, and call on Apu and Purna. Ask Apu and Purna to give you a message. What is the message for me today? What do I need to know? It brings the gift of joy and of laughter. And it says that is the most powerful medicine you need to access right now in order to work with. So that's awesome. That was a message for me. Each one of you are going to receive specific coding, specific messages from these Apus. And so you would always only call on Apu and Purna when you are facing east. In order to call on Apu Demblanche, no, Ben Nevis. Apu Ben Nevis, you would have to face west. And when you want to call on Apu Demblanche, you need to face north. And when you want to call on Apus Atlas, you need to face south. Yeah, like you literally position yourself in the compass of your surroundings and face on that direction and call on the Apus from that direction. There's a gift in positioning yourself that way. Like, for example, the reason why we always make sure we're facing east, we position ourselves in front of the altar facing east for that very same essence or energy, which is to start new, always with new energy. Our grandfathers used to call that ritual entering or finding your point of balance or your sacred center. So apparently, wherever you are and you find yourself finding a specific direction, and if you don't know, because especially there's one place where I always get lost, and that's around Lake Titicaca. I always lose my sense of direction, where the sunrise, where the east is. With the help of a compass, you face to the directions and you position yourself in those 4 directions. Apparently, by doing that, you are finding your point of balance, your point of equilibrium. And that point of equilibrium and point of balance is very powerful, my wonderful family, because that way, even if there is conflict happening over here, chaos over here, even if everything is happening around you, you're always in absolute balance. You're in absolute harmony. Nothing moves you from that center. So positioning yourself with the sacred 4 directions is basic. It's very important. So you call on these Apus and you ask for a message. Who would like to share? I mean, you called on Apu Apurna from the east. Who would like to share what message you got? If you got a message. And who didn't get a message? Because sometimes it's a sense, it's a knowing, sometimes it's a voice, sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's a sensation. Apus communicate with you in different ways. Some Apus never talk to you. Some Apus are so shy that they only show you everything in dreams or visions, or what my grandfather used to call revelations. Beautiful. Take it slow. Boy, do we need to do that. Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, you got it. So when you position yourself to any of these directions and call in the Apus of these directions, you should ask them for a message. You should ask them for an advice. You should ask them for something, because Apus always carry gifts. You know, if I call on Apus right now to the sacred space, let's just call on 2 Apus, and believe me, they will come with powerful gifts. Let's call in Apu Matterhorn and Dents Dumidi. Okay? So close your eyes, visualize yourself inside a crystal. We're not calling it in from a specific direction, we're just calling it in. Apu Matterhorn. Welcome. And Apu Matterhorn arrives and they always bring a gift. It's to share with you right now, it's like it's changing of a hat to me right now. It's like it's working in my head. It's like changing my hat. Let's call in Apu Dents Dumidi. Apu Dents Dumidi Hampui. Oh, the way to call it in Quechua, in our language, to say welcome is the word Hampui. Hampuy. Hampui. Apu Dents Dumidi. Brought a tiny little gift. This is like a little tiny jewel. We say thank you for their presence. They're here with us in ceremony. What did you guys receive from these Apus? Beautiful. I think, Jennifer, I received the key too. It was a jewel thing, very bright, small. Oh, awesome. So Apus always carry gifts. They're the most generous beings of light on the planet. And their most immediate gifts are transformation and healing. Are they generous with that energy? Oh my God, they are. Whenever you want energy to be transformed immediately around you, call on Apu. Whenever you need somebody to be healed from whatever process it's happening to them, call on Apu. And you will know with the experience of calling in more of these Apus, which one is specifically best to call in. For example, just in this region, I'm going to give you 2 examples. If you want to call on an Apu for healing, it's Apu Misti. M-I-S-T-I, Misti. It's a volcano in Arequipa, and it's a doctor Apu. This Apu has the power to do surgeries, transplants, heals cancers, like changes genetic codings of people that have been struggling for so many years with physical conditions. After working with Apu Misti, they have been healed for the rest of their lives. It's miraculous. So a Dr. Apu to call on, Apu Misti. Another one, if you have somebody who is lost, confused, who is needing some guidance in their path, in their life, they're needing to find direction, clarity, Apu Illimani. Illimani, it's in Bolivia, it's in La Paz. Illimani, Illimani. This powerful glacial white snow-covered mountain is a powerful guide. We call it the psychologist, we call it the psychologist and psychic doctor, because it's all about giving you guidance. It's all about listening to your story and telling you this is not it. There is more. Go deeper. There is more. There is more. It's majestic guide. It's powerful guide, Apu. So you start discovering as you're working with these Apus, their different gifts, their different personalities, and what they're specialists on, so that for the rest of your life, you know which one to call on when you know that is necessary. Okay? While we are with it, with the crystal in the center, and we call it Auki, you must have another Apu for the central crystal. This becomes a hierarchy thing, though, because the Auki is the chief of all the Apus in the Mesa. The crystal in the center, Auki, it's AWKI, is the chief of chiefs. So it needs to be programmed with an Apu who has that authority, that presence, because it will be more powerful than all the other four Apus. The Auki in the center becomes the one that you talk to most, the one that you pray to first and last. And here's the best part. When you, let's say somebody's needing healing, and I call on the Auki not only tells, okay, you Apus of the east, west, north, and south, come with me. He also has the power to say, okay, that Apu who is not part of this Mesa, and that other Apu who is not part of this tradition or is programmed here, is also coming. Like the Auki always knows who is the best doctor, who is the best healer, who is the best guide, guardian necessary at any moment. So if you call on the Auki when you don't know who to call, you're actually doing the best that you can, because the Auki has access to powerful allies that you don't even know of in the Mesa that the Auki has access to. So in this case, I'm going to call Kilimanjaro. Yeah, I'm going to call on Apu Kilimanjaro to be the Auki in the central crystal. Auki Kilimanjaro, welcome to our Mesa. Hampui, to be the center of centers, the anchor of the cosmic light, the anchor of the vitality of Mother Earth, the anchor of all the powerful blessings that are coming from the sacred four directions, to always be able to call on you whenever we need you, for the family, for the community, for the planet, and especially for our spiritual path, to be that central crystal that will hold us in our highest frequencies of vibration. Auki Kilimanjaro. Ya está. Programmed. Now we have 5. In a Mesa, this is complete. If you don't ever add any other Apu, because you can. Let's say an example. Let's say somebody in the family is going through some hard health processes. I'll just say, let's say my sister. You can program an Apu in the Mesa for that person. For example, my sister is called Miriam. So I say to Apu Misty, Apu Misty, please, welcome to the Mesa. Your job is to look after my sister's health, Miriam. Now, that stone can go anywhere near the central crystal. These four apus always are in the four directions in the outer circle. So I can have as many apus here for family. And once my sister comes out of the process of healing herself and Apu Misti is no longer needed, let's say 2 weeks later, a month later, I can say to Apu Misti, thank you so much. It was wonderful, your work. My sister is completely healed, and I will call on you whenever I need you again. So I just breathe on it once, completely reset, ready to be used again whenever I need to use it. And we can put it outside of the Mesa. So in the Mesa, you can put more apus. You can program them for specific people and praying for specific projects. Let's say I need an apu for 2022 to guide me, to help me to not to lose track of my path because of these situations with COVID, with the restrictions, with all the fear. Like for me to be on track, I'll call on Apu Ilimani. Apu Ilimani, I call on you to keep me on track, to not to get distracted of my path or, yeah. So, Apu Ilimani. And now Apu Ilimani's responsibility is to keep me in track, to keep me in the path, to not to let me go off distractions, fears, no, just to be right on track. So you can put Apus in the Mesa for a specific project. And once that is done, at the end of 2022, I can say to this Apu Ilimani, thank you. You've been an amazing guide. I have an awesome 2022. Now your process is complete. Thank you. And that goes to the resting Mesa or back to Mother Earth, wherever you would like to give it. You can also give it away as a gift to somebody. It doesn't have to carry a program or a prayer. That's why you need to reset it with one breath. And when you want to program it, is always with 3 breaths. Okay? So if you don't add any apus, if you only have these sacred 4 stones being the guardians of the sacred 4 directions, that is enough. If you don't ever do anything for the rest of your life with this Mesa, it's absolutely fine because it's already programmed. Wherever you are, the sacred 4 directions are already blessed by 4 guardians. And these apus will always be walking with you for the rest of your life in ceremony. That's our Mesa, that's our work with our apus. So now I'm going to open up this space for anybody who has any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Hello, hello.
Hi. I just wanted to ask, with the north, south, east and west, you don't have to choose an Apu that's in the south of Earth. You know, you can just take them from anywhere in the world and just make them your north, south, east and west, like the list.
Correct.
They can be from anywhere.
Correct. So
yeah, okay, great.
So you make them your own west or east Apu. They don't have to come necessarily from that direction.
Yeah,
Yes.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else would like to ask questions, my loves? Be generous with yourselves.
I'll ask another question.
Yes, Steph.
Oh.
No, you can ask one more.
Yeah, just are we going to get this information from you afterwards via the college? Some of the things like the altar, the layout and stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
of
okay,
course.
right. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Steph, heels can be apus. And when we talk about apus, we also are talking about rivers as being apus, hills being apus, like the neighborhood where you live, or even the street where your house is also an apu. So for example, let's say I live on Saul Avenue. So whenever I want to call on the spirit of the land where I live, I will always say Apu Sol Avenue. And then the spirit of that specific land where we live is in communion with me now. And it embodies that essence for you. So Apus are also hills, indeed. Anna, there, you know, like I said at the beginning, our Apus, where we were born, they're keeping track of our life from the moment we took our first breath in. And whenever we move, they connect with the new Apu where you're living and they exchange information about you. So no Apu is ever missing you. Neither you are missing any Apu ever. There is always Apu energy available for you everywhere you are. To the point where even your local Apus have a follow-up on you wherever you go, through the new Apus that you have around you. So you always, I love your question. You said, does that make me distant from Apu energy? No, you're never distant from Apu energy. We're all connected to our Apus. It's just that we're not conscious of that connection. And becoming conscious of this connection in a way of creating this altar is a powerful instrument for life, for our spiritual awakening, and for our service in healing work, because that's what we have access to. When we're working with our Apus, we're accessing powerful healing energy. You can have global Apus, you can have local Apus. I have local Apus. Did you get that? In the Mesa, we always program Apus of our land and also Apus of different parts of the planet. So I'm pretty local. Catherine, I don't understand your question. Can you unmute?
Hi, Puma. Yes, I just wondered if you receive a gift from an Apu, which is very real, but you don't quite understand it, you don't quite grasp it. Say you just receive a little green leaf. It's beautiful, but you don't quite understand or feel it. I guess you just stay in trust that some messages will come where you suddenly do understand the gift, the little leaf or whatever it is. Do you just stay in trust and go, it will come, it will show, it will reveal?
I would say, Catherine, no, you don't trust that it will reveal itself. I think you just need to ask more. Like when you receive the leaf, you need to ask the Apu, what does this leaf mean, Apu? And you know, like once you know what it means, you also need to ask why. And you ask as many questions as possible, because that's what Apus love. Apus love to be asked questions. Apus love to be asked for gifts. They're here for you. Assam. A ver. Anne, you can unmute.
Yes, I was wondering if a place in a forest, a place I know with special trees for me, that I connect with, can that place be an Apu that I put in a crystal for on my altar, like in the center? Or does the center has to be a real powerful mountain
You know, I believe an Auki is whoever you choose, and also whoever the Auki is choosing to be. So it goes both ways. I guess what I want to add to this is when you're choosing Apus to be guardians of the four directions, you are only doing 50% of the choosing. The other 50% is being chosen by them to be the guardians of those portals. So if that forest is what you connect with and it's very sacred, it's very powerful to you, that is the perfect Auki to have in the center.
Okay.
And you just believe on that with your life, and you don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Mhm.
Yes. So that's the perfect Auki end. Susanna, what is your question, Susanita?
My question is, when I travel to a foreign or a familiar country like Italy, and I feel like home, could it be that there is like an Apu energy saying hi or welcoming me?
Oh, yes. Thank you for your question, Susanna. This is the other thing. In ancient times, in order for you to have Apus in your Mesa, you had to journey to the mountains yourself. I didn't want to tell you this because it's just protocols. You no longer have to do that now. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. You can call on the Apu and program it in the Mesa because it's possible. And because it can happen, it will happen. However, there was once a tradition when people had to arrive to their Apus and visit them in order to invite them to their Mesa. And there is this specific connection, there's this specific vibration that you have for each other. So that's a sign that this Apu is definitely for you. So these Apus in Italy are calling on you, Susanna, for sure. Ooh, yes. Thank you, Arden. What do you do? You have this powerful circle of 4 Apus. They're each filling this altar with so many gifts. What you do is you share it, my loves. You share it immediately. All that refined energy receiving from the 4 portals, being anchored by the central crystal, it's not for you only, it's also for the family, for the community, and that's why you share it. So we have a ritual where we breathe to the central crystal with a K breath, with that. And every time you breathe, you need to visualize ripple effect energy expanding 360 degrees around you to the family, to the community. And if you have someone specific, like let's say right now I am thinking of Sally. I'm thinking of you, Sally, right now. And I breathe to the Mesa, a little flash of light, a thread of light departs from the Mesa on the direction to you, and it arrives just like that. It's like a ley line, like a ray of light that is activated that takes energy specifically to Sally. So once you have the Mesa active, once you have the Apus program, Arden, you share this powerful energy. And that's how you use a Mesa for healing. So let's do that right now. One breath will be for our biological family. Another breath will be for our global family, for everybody throughout the planet. And the last breath will be for yourselves. Let's complete it for yourselves to create this powerful flow of Sami energy into your physical body, into your physical temple to be in absolute harmony and blessed, okay? So first, for our family and loved ones, breathe in deeply I mean, I could feel that energy. I don't know if you felt it. I felt it.
Mm.
Next, for our global family, for our family throughout the planet, that includes me, that includes you. We breathe in. And the last one is for you to integrate powerful Sami into yourself, into your physical body. That will be powerful healing energy, harmonizing energy. So we breathe in. Beautiful. So after you're complete with that, you bring the stones together, and I'm going to teach you how to wrap the mesa. The cloth that is the closest to you of the west comes first. That represents Pachamama, protecting it, yeah? Then what your right hand touches comes next, like this. Then what your left hand touches comes next. And last, what we call the Eastern, the sun, the divine cosmic energy of the sunrise covers it last, so that your mesa is always in light. And that's how we bundle our medicine. And then you can even use a little string to tie it to in a cross shape to wrap it up. And now this mesa is ready to journey to wherever you can go. It's a portable altar. And wherever you are, you can always open it up. And that's how we wrap our mesa. Thank you so much, Arden, for that question. Beautiful. Any other questions, loves, before we bring a closing to our class today?
Are you coming back to do more?
Say that again?
Are you going to be teaching us more another time?
Of course.
More,
of course.
More experience and more teaching and more learning from you. It's been amazing.
We will continue, my loves, indeed. All right. So I'm going to lit up the sacred pipe. I'm going to give deep gratitude to Pachamama, to our ancestors, to our cosmic father, to our cosmic mother for this wonderful space and time we had together. I look forward to sharing more with each one of you and teaching you more these traditions of the Andes. Always sending you infinite blessings for an awesome, epic 2022, because we're gonna make it epic, right? Right. Infinite blessings, my wonderful family. Thank you for being in ceremony with me today. We will share more of these classes indeed. I will keep you posted. I will talk with our Jill, who is the master of the school, and we will program more of these classes. Much love.